Hello and welcome. Bienvenue, welcome. Sorry. I can't get my fat arse through here unless that's up. Okay. I've been trying to do numerous videos because it's the holidays. What I have here is yesterday I took it upon myself. I drove to Cleveland, Ohio, as a fellow was selling a set of Ludwig Amber Vistas, reissue. Not from the, 1971, 2 to like 1980, 81, 82, 83. But it's a reissue, okay? So I got a 26 by 14 or a 14 by 26, this here 10 by 14, and the 16 by 18. And a Supraphonic, came with the Supra. And I'm real fast aside, I'm going to make another John Bonham tuning video. The fellow who I got the Supra from has some like a lining on the inside of the drum to deaden it a little, so I'm going to take that out. But I figure what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a proper Test My Thesis John Bonham tuning video real fast, where I'm going to strip it of all its hardware. We're going to tap the shell, get the fundamental note, and go from there. So be on the lookout for the John Bonham snare drum tuning extravaganza, even though I already have a few videos on John Bonham tuning. And we all know how terrific the black Crolite, or the blue Crolite, that I was auctioned off at the Drum Clinic in Lancaster. Dave Serini, God love you. How Zeppelin-y that, how Royal Albert Hall that sounded. So, here, and I just brought this over because I don't want to take the 16 or the 26 up because it's too big and heavy, is the 10 by 14. It really is a shame that Ludwig, at least for the Vistalites, at least for us John Bonham fanatics, doesn't offer a 6-lug top and a 6-lug bottom for these drums, because the original spec on these babies, I think probably almost all the way up till the early, mid, maybe later 80s, before the power tom phenomenon, were a 6-lug top and a 6-lug bottom. You can see this is 8 top, 8 bottom. I mean, the diehard Zeppelin guy, it looks different, but also, too, it adds some weight to the drum. So I went and I drove to Cleveland. It was great. I actually made some video with my phone, which maybe I'll edit into this, but it wasn't really remarkable at all. I looked at the footage, and it was just kind of like candy ass and lame, I thought. But anyway, so now I'm going to get my Amber Vistalites back in the video, because I had that kit that I used to have that I sold about 5 years ago. I had a property tax bill that came, and they were the most liquid thing I had. And I wasn't playing at that time with the Zepp bands anymore. So I'm going to set them up right here. And you'll notice if you watch those videos, the original setup I did have up when I had the Ambers, my original Amber kit, was the 26, 14, 18. I didn't put both floor toms here because it was too big. So that's the same setup I'll have. So and there's another fella that had a set of Amber Vistalites reissue. Nice guy named Brian down in South Carolina, who I was in touch with a few months ago. I didn't have the money at the time. Of course, I thought I'd get a hold of him today. Of course, I got in last night with these drums, and I thought, well, God, I should have maybe called this fella Brian. So I didn't. He still had them, but he sold them. He just sold them, which is fine. If the guy backs out of the deal, maybe I'll consider buying them. But the beauty of his kit is somebody, maybe he did, but somebody professionally drilled that kit with the rail mount, the shell-mounted cymbal holder, and the rack tom isn't from Ludwig. They said, I've talked to the folks at Ludwig, they won't make you one. Surprisingly, I was kind of shocked. I said, would you, if I ordered a kit, would you make the 14-inch tom and the Amber, would you make it 12-lug instead of 16? He said, no. He's like, we don't do that. I was like, anyway, I'm not knocking anybody, but it's true. I think they should. Or at least maybe consider, for at least the Amber Vistalites, maybe crank out a quick batch of like 100 of them, just drill 6 top and bottom. It'd be a nice treat, I think, to everybody. But, what I'm going to do, what I have to do with mine that I just got, of course, they come virgin. When you get the drums, there's no mount on the rack tom. Because what they do is they assume you're just going to put it in the snare stand, kind of like Bonham did with his. Because originally they came out with the, they did reissue sort of the Zeppelin configuration, the Bonham 26, 12 by 14, 16 by 16, 16 by 18, and that did, of course, have the snare stand mounting the tom, and I think they just kept that mindset as they went into the Amber Vistalites, the shallower 10 by 14, 10 by 14 versus the 12 by 14. But they don't also have the rail consulate mechanisms anymore. Well, until recently, because Steve Maxwell, the venerated Steve Maxwell, who, by the way, is a great drummer. You ever seen that guy at the drum shows? He stands there, he just does paradiddles. He'll stand there, like his technique, he'll stand, he's kind of like, hey, or he almost looks like Ed Shaughnessy's cousin Roger. If you see Ed Shaughnessy, Steve Maxwell looks like him. I'm not knocking Steve. I mean that as a compliment. I'm not making fun of him at all. But he stands there like at the shows and stuff, and he's got like a tweed coat on. He's like, and he's got his sticks, and he's playing. He's like a Rogers fanatic, right? And he sits at his pad, and it's like, and his technique is. I remember standing there just watching him. I'm like, Jesus, that's. He's like, thanks. But Steve, who's a very successful businessman, started a few years ago he started making like the Wahlberg and Auger rail consulates like that you'd see on the old Slingerland. Indeed, the old Ludwig, like the WFL and Gretsch, they had like 2 holes. But in the past maybe 6 or 7 years, he started to manufacture a 4-hole like you'd see on Ludwig, 1959 on, which is nice. So maybe Ludwig could make a deal with him. Say, listen, Steve, we want to buy 200 of those or whatever. Instead of the 140 ass, maybe we'll give you like 50 a piece or something. And we'll say they're like the Steve Maxwell mount. It'll be some publicity for you. Plus, you'll at least get your cost. And then Ludwig can offer the rail consulate on the Ambers, which would be a nice touch. But anyway, so now what I have to do, to make a long story short, is drill my 26 for the rail consulate and the shell-mounted cymbal loader, and of course put the mount on this 10x14. Now you have to use special drill bits for acrylic. They're different looking. They have like a point at the end. Like they almost look like borers when they go through rock for like subways and tunnels and stuff. And you can't drill real fast because it generates a lot of heat. You gotta be like, otherwise it'll crack. And I'd forgotten that. And I have a friend up here in Chicago who's like, Terry, would you mind if you come by and drill my reissue Amber set that, of course, doesn't have the console, like he needed to do what I needed to do to mine. So I did it for him, and at one point, one of the drums, I just blasted through, like I forgot about that, and I put a little crack in the shell, in his 10x14, I think. So I was really sorry about that. I feel like an ass. Anyway, so that's what I got to do, but look at this. Isn't this cool? I mean, this drum, that's heavy, man. It's just so exciting to have the Vista lights back. And again, there's a certain tone to Vista lights. I am going to have to buy the heads. I'm going to have to buy the 10x14 black dot head, 16x18 black dot. I'm going to have to buy the black dot because I really want the tone to be as close as possible to the original Bonham. I mean, you might as well if you got them, right? And the neat thing about the Vista lights is, especially with Zeppelin, I've said this in other videos, is the sound of the Vista lights, or we'll say as we're talking about Zeppelin, John Bonham's Amber Vista light kit that he played. When you listen to the live recordings where he plays them, 73 and 75, there's a homogenization to the sound of the drums, which makes certain drum parts he plays a lot cooler sounding. Okay, like the 18-inch floor, like the floor toms sound a lot more like the bass drum than the toms sound like the bass drum on other kits he played. Maybe not so much the stainless, but definitely the natural maple thermo and the green sparkle. So if you listen to like if you listen to like the Led Zeppelin stuff that came out a bunch of years ago that has like them playing Long Beach and stuff where they're doing like Dazed Confused, Bonham does that cool, what I call the coolest fill in the world. If you want to look on my Bonzoleum channel and type in Bonzoleum coolest fill in the world, you'll see this. It's a pattern he plays on the drums as they go from the last verse before the whole middle of Dazed Confused. And then he does pretty much the same fill. In the song remains the same, which is so cool, where he and John Paul Jones are hanging out. And John Paul Jones is standing pretty much where you are on Bonham, sort of behind the drums, like, and he's like, Now, Bonham's a little miss-sync there. Probably, he's probably excited the camera was there. But anyway, back to the Vista lights. Listen to the tone of the green sparkles that Bonham's playing on that. It doesn't sound as cool because there's a marked difference between the sound of the tom-toms as he goes to the bass drum. It still sounds cool. If you'd never heard what came later with like 73 and 75, like the Earl's Court, and the song remains the same, little fills, like fills certain parts like that where Bonham's playing the amber, they sound cooler again because the tom-toms and the bass drum are more homogeneous sounding. So that's it. So here it is. I got the frickin' ambers. I'm going to have to go out and find a 16 by 16. But what can you do? So I'm going to have those babies set up. Again, the T-shirts come in a week, okay? So a lot of people have emailed me. Remember, if you want a Bonzoleum T-shirt, it says Bonzoleum in like that cool Led Zeppelin writing, and then there's the 3 symbols, Bonham circles, and then University. I put University on the bottom again. I know it sounds a little pretentious, but I didn't want to necessarily put Bonzoleum drum videos. I don't know. Just put University. People are always like, I like your lessons, so whatever. I put it. So sue me. But I will at some point. I'll wear one in a video soon. A lot of orders have come in. I think I have an order for about 50 or 60 have come in. I have 144. I did not make any 3XLs, unfortunately, because about 5 people are like, do you have any 3XLs? So I'm going to have to go out and special order those babies. And God love you. I mean, it's just the fact of the matter is, 3XL, guys, some guys are just bigger, man. They're not necessarily, fat guys. They're just big dudes, So I'll go out and do that for you. So remember, if you want a shirt, the email address is bonzoleum@gmail.com. Bonzoleum, like the name of my channel, @gmail.com. I might not get back to you right away, okay? I have other stuff going on. If I don't get back to you right away, I got your email, trust me. I'll get back to you and say, like what I said to a bunch of people, like the 50 or so people that have already emailed. I've said, listen, I'm going to get back to you. I got your order. I'll let you know. I'll give you So what I'm going to do is it's going to be $15 including shipping. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the USPS, the post office. They have I'm going to send them priority because it comes with free tracking. I don't want to be sending these shirts out and people say, I never got mine, and you know what I mean? So that's why it's 15, okay? And if you buy more than one, of course, I'll combine shipping. It might be like, if you buy 5 shirts, it might be like 17. No, I mean, not 17. Like 7 to ship, $7. Just because, believe it or not, that priority mail, the weight does suddenly, if it brings it up. So if you want a Bonzoleum t-shirt, bonzoleum@gmail.com. So it's really, really cool, man. And I'm going to get my website up and running again. I used to have a website, a Bonzoleum website years ago. It was just so like lo-fi. But I'm going to have an actual website because I need to make a good index or like table of contents for all my videos. I need a place where people can find what they're looking for a lot easier because I realize that's not really working the way it's set up currently. So more videos on the way, of course. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a whole series of me, and I'm really going to do this, of me playing along to Zeppelin recordings, but you won't hear the Zeppelin recording. Like if there's no drums at first, I might sing it at first. Like let's say Achilles' Last Stand. So I'll sit here and be like ba da da ba ba da 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 ba ba da 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 da. I played that wrong. Da 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 da, and then I'll be like, the drums come in now, and then I'll play for the next 8 minutes just playing the drums. Okay, so I'll do that with a lot of tunes. Again, I said I'm going to make an actual cover with Royal Orleans because Royal Orleans is on the approved Jimmy Page list for covering on YouTube. There's very few Led Zeppelin songs you can actually play along to the actual music without a copyright issue coming up. So Royal Orleans is a good one, so I can do that, and that's coming soon. I'll do it on the Ambers. So again, for the 900th time, thanks for watching. More videos on the way. My editing capabilities will be coming back too. So thank you.